Hello and welcome. My name is Anuska Taylor. It's great to have you here for this week's video, which is all about fillers. And no, I'm not talking about facial fillers. This is about fillers we use in speech. Now, we all use fillers, and to a lesser or greater extent, and particularly in conversational speech, we use fillers a lot. But it's something as a public speaker, when you really want to be listened to and taken seriously, that you want to try and eliminate as much as possible. So there are three types of fillers. There are filler sounds, there are filler words, and there are filler phrases. But the commonality with them all is that they actually don't add any additional meaning to what you're saying whatsoever. So filler sounds could be ah. Filler words could be things like well, so, like. Now, my personal favorite, and when I watch my videos back, I like, oh my goodness, I say this so much, is so. So for me, I just said it there. So for me, so is one that I have really noticed that I say, and now I'm becoming a lot more aware of it. Filler phrases could be things like, you know, I mean, and again, they're not adding any value. Why do we want to avoid, as a public speaker, using fillers, whether it's sounds, words, or phrases? So firstly, it's very distracting for your audience. If someone is always going, you know, like, it can start to become quite annoying. Also, it suggests that the person speaking is uncomfortable, is probably nervous, but doesn't perhaps really know what they're talking about. Perhaps they're lacking confidence in what they're talking about and they're doubting themselves. So again, it depends on what you're doing, but if you're speaking at a conference or an event or a presentation or a pitch, you want to present yourself in the best possible light. And also it suggests that we're not really in the present moment. We're not really connected to ourselves and to the audience. We're very much in our head. We're trying to think. Which brings me on to the next point. Why do we do it? Now, again, we all do it to a lesser or greater extent, but why do we do it? Well, really, it is about trying to buy ourselves some time. We're trying to think. We're maybe trying to think of a particular word. Perhaps it's a really uncomfortable conversation, so we just don't even want to be in the conversation. Often we are very nervous when we're using fillers. And also we can use them to suggest to our audience or the person we're talking to that we haven't actually finished speaking. So there are a few reasons why we might use them, but the commonality really is we're giving ourselves time to think. So then the big question is, how do you stop doing this? The first part, as with anything generally in life, but also particularly with speech, because often these habits are so habitual we don't even know that we're doing them, is awareness. I would suggest, and this is the thing, when I do these videos on YouTube, I watch them back. I notice myself, what do I do? What kinds of words am I using? How do I show up? I really encourage you, if you don't do this kind of thing and do videos regularly, to start videoing yourself speaking and just start to notice what fillers, if any, do I use? And it's just bringing awareness. First of all, you know, being kind to yourself. We all do it to a lesser or greater extent, but you've got to catch yourself first. Like, as I said, for me, I say so a lot, but it's only because of this work that I do that I've started to become more aware of it. So you have to bring awareness. And the only way to really do that is to watch yourself speak. And most people don't want to watch themselves speak. So you can't ever actually improve if you're not going to be willing to watch yourself back. So that's the first step. You have to build awareness. Number two, and I say this with both of my hats on as a speaker and a singer, is you want to be as prepared as possible. Because remembering that often fillers are overused when we're anxious and when we're nervous. They often go hand in hand with speaking faster. You just want to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. So it tends to go hand in hand. However, we want to prepare ourselves. We want to prepare our mind, our voice. And of course, we want to be as prepared as possible with the content that we're talking about. And obviously, if it's particularly complex, then you might have to spend a little longer preparing. But in terms of the sort of physical side of the preparing, warm your voice up And I've done many videos on warming the voice up because, you know, if you are doing a speech or a presentation and your voice is feeling a little bit croaky or a little bit tired, that is going to add to the anxiety, because you're going to, on some level, maybe not consciously, but be thinking, I don't even know what kind of voice is going to come out in 10 minutes time. So prepare your voice, warm your voice up. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You can do it in 30 seconds. You could literally go to the bathroom, warm your voice up and come back. It doesn't have to be a big thing. So warm your voice up. Prepare your mind as well. And it sounds like a weird thing to say, but our mind drives everything. So one of the things that I love to do is visualization. Really see yourself giving that speech confidently, powerfully, how you want your voice to show up, how you want people to react to you. Really start to see yourself showing up the way you want to show up when you are doing whatever. Visualization is incredibly powerful. And you can do it again. You can do it. No one knows that you're doing it. You could do it 10 minutes before, but really start to see yourself powerfully speaking. In terms of the body preparation, and it also links to the voice as well, deep belly breathing. Again, I've done videos on this too. Often what happens when we're nervous is we tend to breathe very shallow, and the voice just can't function as well when the breath is very shallow. But also we know that deep belly breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, and that is the nerve that really allows that parasympathetic nervous system to switch on, which is this sort of anti-anxiety nervous system. So it's a win-win. When we breathe deeply from our belly, not only is our voice going to be powered from a more optimal place, but we are going to feel more relaxed. Now, again, like with visualization, you could combine the two, and maybe the night before you've got a big speaking engagement, before you go to sleep, do some deep belly breathing and really visualize yourself on that stage or in that meeting room. And then you can do it a few moments before you speak and also during as well. So remembering that that's where we want to be speaking from. We want to be speaking from that deep belly breath place versus this kind of high, shallow, tense breathing. And then last but definitely not least is you have to become comfortable with silence and pauses. Now, any great speaker that you watch, anyone that you perceive to be a great speaker, I guarantee they have learned the art form of using pauses. And you can use them for so many reasons. So we're not just sticking pauses in so that we can overcome this filler issue. We're using pauses to really enhance our speaking. There's many reasons for using pauses. They are incredibly powerful, some of which are just a few ideas off the top of my head. We use them to really add grammar to our spoken word. We use them to help the audience make sense with what we're saying. Whether there is a comma or a full stop, we're giving the audience a chance to absorb what we're saying. We can use them for dramatic purpose. We can use them to focus the audience's attention on something that we want them to think about. So we can use pauses in so many powerful ways. It's a way of actually getting people's attention as well, because most of the time we're so uncomfortable with silence for most of us. So we fill silences. So just start to pay attention. Am I someone that is uncomfortable with silences? Do I feel like I have to fill a silence? Do I feel like I always have to say something? And maybe start there. Maybe start being comfortable with silence in your everyday world. You may have previously felt like you needed to speak. Just see what happens if you don't say anything. Notice what comes up for you. Notice what feelings come up for you. Notice what thoughts your ego starts to spin, or, you know, you need to say something, otherwise I'll think you're stupid or you don't know anything. Just start to notice those thoughts, because you have to become comfortable with silence and you have to become a master of pauses, because the two together, then you are going to be less likely to be wanting to use fillers, because the only reason we really use fillers is to buy time so we can think about what we're going to say next. But if you are comfortable with silence and you have learned to master using pauses to add to your speaking, then really you've got no particular reason anymore to use unnecessary fillers. Of course, you're still going to use a few. That's absolutely fine. I'm talking about people that use them a lot. And again, often they don't even realize they're doing it. And as I say, case in point for myself, I didn't realize how much I said so till I started watching my own videos back. I hope this has helped. And really just start to, with kindness and with compassion, just start to notice. Watch yourself. What do I do? What words do I use? What phrases do I use? What sounds am I using? How am I overfilling my words when actually I could just be quiet? Or I could start to deliberately use pauses to really enhance my speaking. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. It really helps to get my videos out there. And I will see you on my next video.